You want to take this one, Makahl?
Yeah, sure. Okay, 2019 Edmonton Pride Festival cancelled.
Oh, this is a doozy.
Oh yeah, this one is great. I've heard a bit about it. Okay, it's normally one of the most well-attended events in Alberta's capital, but this year the Edmonton Pride Festival won't take place at all, according to an email sent out by organizers Wednesday afternoon.
Oh boy, why?
Yeah, let's find out, shall we? Global News has obtained a copy of an email sent out by the Edmonton Pride Festival Society explaining why the 2019 edition of the annual event, which aims to educate people and create a spirit of unity by celebrating gender and sexual diversity, has been called off. It is with heavy hearts that we inform you that the Board of Directors has voted to cancel the 2019 Edmonton Pride Festival, the email reads. The email goes on to remind its recipients that the Pride is a non-profit run almost entirely by volunteers and that the organizers have concerns that they would not be able to host a safe and enjoyable event this year. Okay, so there's some security concerns.
Yeah.
Seems that way.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, okay, I don't get paid for this. I don't want to take the security risk on me, so nope. That's a very good sentiment. Very understandable. A member on the Society's Board of Directors, whose name Global News has agreed to keep anonymous, said a funding and volunteer deficit, as well as a belief the organization could not fulfill its mission to unify the community, led to the decision to cancel the event. All right.
So there's a split in the community.
Ah.
Yay, interesting. Wherever could that be?
I get this feeling that. I'll let you read it. I have some suspicions.
Yeah, in a separate email from the Pride Society that Global News obtained, festival organizers address a meeting they held with members of the group on April 4th. Global News has learned members of Shades of Color, an Edmonton group that advocates for queer and trans black folk, indigenous folks, and people of color, attended the meeting. All right.
Don't say.
Yeah. The festival has been provided demands involving a complete restructuring of our festival and our commitments to sponsors, which we needed to bring out to our membership. Pride Society said in an email dated April 6th. A special meeting was called as per our bylaws. We invited 4 representatives of the groups requesting the demands to speak to the membership. Due to these demands being non-negotiable, we needed our membership to discuss them and put them to a vote. Like, why are they non-negotiable? Like, is the position of those of the Shades of Color that strong?
From the sound of it, it sounds like they're holding the Pride Festival hostage, almost.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Let's just add brown and black on top of the Pride flag. Not below, on top. The society was presented with a list of 7 demands, including ending the Pride Parade and providing annual funding for Shades of Color America now. Yeah, so it's just basically, it's a shakedown.
Yeah.
No floats, no corporate, just community groups, and it would be a protest march instead, and then they asked for each group to receive $20,000 a year in funding from us.
Imagine having the fucking balls to demand 40 grand in funding from a group of volunteers.
Yeah, like...
After you ask them to cut any and all corporate sponsorship of their event.
Then... This sounds like... Oh, man.
This sounds like a fucking gang shakedown.
This sounds like this kind of stuff you'd get hit up on for tax evasion.
Right. I've seen this on a computer. It's called ransomware.
Yeah.
This is literally what they did. They held the Pride Festival ransom. It's pay
Yeah.
us 40 grand, cut out the corporate sponsorship, cut out the floats, or else.
Yeah.
What is the
Let's see.
else?
Let's find out, shall we? The
Please,
society's
let's.
email said that the other groups attending were told they could only have 4 people attend because of limited capacity in the meeting room, but the groups told them it was all of them or no one. And the demands continue.
Jesus.
Show of force. Yeah. We have been informed there would be protests, the email reads. We believe in the right to protest. When the protesters entered the meeting area, we were fearful for our safety and the safety of others, and we moved our meeting to another location. Yep. Have you paid your security tax today?
An
It would be a
excerpt
shame
from
if somebody were to happen to your members, wouldn't it?
an excerpt from the letter. Indeed, several of our board members and staff were pushed and shoved. One board member was cornered and yelled at and told they were not allowed to leave.
Fuck you, communist! Would have been my
Yeah.
response. You fucking jackbooted piece of shit.
Sorry, go ahead, Makahl.
Yeah, it's just like, wow, these people, and they get away with it too. That's the big issue. Like,
Oh yeah,
keep
because they
getting
have
away
the
with
correct
fucking
amount
bullshit.
of tags
Melanin.
on their shit, right?
Yeah. Even those of us with privilege, we are still marginalized. A marginalized community, the board member said. We've suffered
Oh
assault.
boy.
Yeah. Oh, it's like they just keep eating themselves.
Yeah.
It's like
You would think this would be the wake-up call, but no.
No,
They're
not at
still
all.
Embracing,
Like-
still embracing the privilege narrative.
yeah.
Even
Like,
those of
there's
us
been,
with
like-
privilege, I'd have been like, fuck those guys. I would have like
Yeah, okay, so from like is privilege getting if getting shoved around is being privileged, I don't want to know what being non-privileged is.
right. It's just like it's staggering that they see this and it
That they
happens
let
to
it
them.
happen to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
there's
not enough for them to be like, oh, maybe we fucked up.
yeah.
Yeah, no, they went like well, they're hiring a progressive stack, so we just gotta let them get away with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Just,
Assault, intimidation, verbal assault, you know.
Yeah.
Everything.
The kind of stuff you'd usually see a judge for, but apparently not. The email went on to say that until we are able to hold a membership meeting and receive direction from our membership on how we are to proceed with these demands, we will be conducting the 2019 Edmonton Pride Festival as planned. Okay, yeah, this is probably an earlier email, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. It is not clear what role, if any, the April 4 meeting played in the event's cancellation. Well, I can make a decent guess. On Wednesday night, Shades of Color issued a statement about Pride's cancellation on its Facebook page. All right, let's see this. This is going to be juicy.
Yeah.
It is with profound disappointment that we express our abhorrence at the actions carried out by the Edmonton Pride Festival Society, which culminated in their decision to cancel the 2000. It was not their freaking actions, it's yours.
Yeah.
Like, we are calling this decision for what it is, namely a disavowal of deep systematic problems in the framework of EPFS, as well as an attempt to dismiss, target, and put out of play the efforts put on part of Black, Indigenous, and people of color in this LGBTQ. I'm gonna not read the other symbols.
LMNOP.
To point, yeah, exactly. To point towards alternatives on how this organization carries out its activities. So no, basically, you're angry. Your shakedown didn't work, and there wasn't any fucking feathers on this check-in. Time and again, EPFS has taken advantage of some of the most vulnerable members in its community. As you may remember, on April 4th, 2019, EPFS was uncaringly willing to deploy the very policing institution that they are still under fire for defending, at the expense of racialized and colonized members in the LGBTQNLP community. You can read the entire statement below.
Okay, so apparently...
So basically, it sounds like they just called the cops on them.
Yeah, and the whole drama over that is, I think, in 2017, the police were, I guess, either asked or like invited to join the Pride Parade, or either that or they tried to join themselves. There's some background story to this, and I guess some people were very upset about it because the origin of Pride is, of course, because of what happened in Stonewall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think a lot of people have accepted that, you know, times have changed a bit since then, and
the cops don't really give a fuck if you're gay or not, for the most part.
The times they are changing.
I mean, I don't know. Alberta's pretty like conservative a province, I guess, by Canadian standards, but I still don't think they care all that much.
Yeah.
I can't say for certain. Obviously, I don't live out there.
Yeah.
But I think obviously the intent then was to try and maybe bridge some of the gaps and heal some of the wounds that people have been dealing with over the past, 40-odd years.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Stonewall happened in the 70s. Or was it the late 60s?
I think it was the late 60s, if memory serves. It's been 50 years, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, the cops fucked up.
Yeah, imagine not being able to say, sorry guys, we'll try to do better next time.
Yeah.
And then just getting
yelled out and then when a organization that helps draw awareness to that particular situation is like, it's time to heal, and reaches out, and then some members like, no, fuck the cops, and you're like, so they just live in perpetual guilt. There's no redemption path. It's just, no, they fucked up once.
Yeah,
they're
some
gone.
Guys 50 years ago who are probably dead, fucked up, and now you hold it over the heads of every cop ever because of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they show the goddamn purity spiral, and it's like it becomes like, when you start to see that shit, you're like, oh, so this is where the authoritarian left started. Was like this shit. Like, this is where it started. Was the idea of like, there's no such thing as a good cop. They're all bad and wanting to kill a bunch of people.
And don't get me wrong, I don't pretend that there aren't still stories of like incredibly fuck-offy cops these days.
Oh yeah.
Like I've seen footage of it happening.
Yeah.
I know there are shitty cops out there.
Yeah.
But you can't just brand all of them as the same thing.
Right.
Especially not if you want to be treated as not all the same thing.
The best part about that is the cops, like, from what you're saying, the cops showed up. They showed up at a Pride Festival.
Yeah, to take part and hang out and be positive members of the community. Imagine.
If these people were just such bigots and homophobes, would they even show up?
Maybe a bit of tear gas.
But where were we?
I think we were just stopped. Yeah.
The Pride Society's decision. Yeah. I think it's where we're at.
The Pride Society decision not to act on a call to ban police and military officers from taking part in the festival boiled over during the Pride Parade last summer. The parade was stalled for about a half hour when demonstrators blocked the route to demand that police, RCMP, and military members be banned from marching in future parades.
What if they're gay, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's issue 1. Issue 2 is like, how the hell could like this kind of parade be stopped? Like I'm European, so I don't understand how disorderly those fucking parades are apparently. But here, if like unannounced protesters show up to interrupt a freaking parade or something, like they get held back by the cops.
Dude, if I was organizing something like this and a bunch of people and I went and got all my permits and got the streets closed down here and a bunch of protesters showed up, I'd call the cops. Get these fuckers out of here. Like,
Yeah, like,
but I'm willing to bet they didn't want to do that because they're just like, oh, we want to seem like we're listening to everybody. It's like, no, fuck these people. Fuck them.
Yeah. If you want to protest, get a permit.
Yeah.
And do it on the
Or
other
go
side of the
stand on the
street.
fucking street.
If
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Westboro Baptist Church showed up without a permit, people would be losing their fucking heads to get them arrested and carted away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Exactly. Like I guess it's 2 laws for 2 different people.
like you have the right to publicly protest, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you
You
can't.
also have to follow like city regulations and bylaws to do it as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Festival organizers agreed to the demands and said the ban would stay in effect for future festivals until all community members feel safe. Well, I would feel a lot safer with more cops around.
What? They actually agree to that?
Apparently.
So Pride in Edmonton is just done now, I guess.
Yeah, well, they were done the moment they gave in.
Right.
Like they showed themselves as weak. So every predator found the scent of fear.
Yeah.
That's a damn shame.
Yeah, we have committed to moving forward with working with community members willing and able to meet with us to have these difficult conversations, the society said in a statement at the time. Pride was born from protest against police oppression, and to ignore that is to ignore an important part of our history. Yeah, don't forget it then. Just, I guess turning the other cheek is gone.
Oh, yeah. I guess the entire teachings of Martin Luther King Jr. in the civil rights movement is just thrown in the trash, too. Like...
Yeah, but he's probably way too homophobic for the nowadays.
I have a dream that gay people and the police will be able to walk together in the streets hand in hand.
Like, if I were more of a troll, now would be the time to put up a picture of the pride flag with a specific set of words printed on them.
Get a life.
And for the lefty shills amongst us, yes, that's a dog whistle.
Everything's a dog whistle.
Me laughing is a dog whistle. Clowns are a dog whistle now.
Honk honk.
Thank God someone actually stood up and said, "You're not taking the clowns."
I bet the clowns have a lot to say about that.
I mean, she was
like that person was actually correct.
She was cringy as hell, but God bless her, she's the only leftist I know with a spine.
Yeah, exactly. Like, holy fuck, they found one, people. We got one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got one.
Let's get this train back on the rails.
So yeah, where were we? We have committed to moving forward. Yep.
Yeah, some community members stood up and made sure their voices were heard. They did so respectfully and peacefully, despite the effort and emotional labor. Fuck off, emotional labor. That's not a fucking thing. that is required of them. Should we have a similar situation in the future, we hope that we are able to come to a positive resolution.
You're dealing with radical revolutionary communists. Liberals get the bullet too. For God's sakes, do these people not know that? These fucking people are like the Terminator. You can't negotiate with them. They'll never stop. And it's ridiculous to even try. You just have to say, no, fuck off. Go away. But we have to maintain our we have to be inclusive, and no, you don't. You really don't. When there's people that are going to be completely, you give them a right to speak and say, okay, well, that's ridiculous. What you just said is stupid. And we're not gonna give it any credence whatsoever. So,
if they want to have a protest, yeah, sure, they can have a protest. Yeah. They can have their cordoned off area on the side of the street where they can protest all they want.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
Parade rolls on.
Yep.
And if they start shit, the cops cart them away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some community members stood up. No, we read that already. A positive resolution as we were able to do. The demonstrators at last year's event described themselves as queer and trans people of color and their allies. Yep. Okay. Jeffrey Rabbit, a community advocate who speaks out about LGBTQ issues in Alberta, spoke to Global News about the cancellation on Wednesday night.
I think it's Chevy Rabbit. I could be wrong.
Yeah, like I'm not spelling that. I'm not saying that correctly. Like I'm a filthy, dirty old worlder who doesn't know about the names in the colonies.
Fair enough.
Okay. I was a little bit caught off guard, she said when asked how she felt when she first heard the news. Really, it's sad for the whole community. The mainstream society, locally and in Alberta, of all places, is really accepting, and I think so many people from the past and present have worked up to this point for our celebrations to take place. And so many of us who are doing the community work, advocating for the gay straight alliances, going out to speak for two-spirit societies, oh yeah, right, indigenous people, going out there to speak for a lot of different organizations. We do this groundwork, this outreach work, and then we come to this celebration, and now, for it to be cancelled, it seems like there's no focal point now.
Right.
Imagine putting in all that work, all that effort, in a society where, things are generally pretty accepting. People are pretty happy for gay people to be around and to be able to openly express themselves, and then to have everything stop because a bunch of identitarians decide that they want to identitarian communists decide they want to hold the whole goddamn thing ransom.
Yeah. For $40,000.
Mm-hmm. For communists, they really do like money quite a lot.
Right.
Don't even get me started on the paradox of communists needing billionaires to make their societies run.
Mm-hmm. I won't, because we've had enough derails already.
Yeah. And we still have to get to the full statement, which...
Yeah, exactly.
Where is that? Is it not listed in this version?
No, I don't think it's listed.
It was in the bottom. Okay, Rabbit said she doesn't know the full story behind what prompted the event's cancellation, but she is concerned by what she sees as divisions in the LGBT community. Yeah, I would hope so, because this isn't a positive.
I don't want to say it, but wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you let identitarians in. They're a radical fucking element. They have to be stopped.
Yeah, I agree, but like the issue is like haven't they gotten in everywhere except for the kind of places that were especially set up not to let identitarians in? Like they're frigging everywhere. Like it's like I don't know who said it. Like I heard it somewhere that like identitarians get everywhere except for the places where they're specifically excluded because that's the places where they fight identitarians.
I gotcha. It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's another long march, I guess. Hey, this is why you get me, for the laughs. I think there's a lot of... Okay, we're still back to Rabbit, her comment. I think there's still a lot of emotions going on right now between the left and the right within the LGBT community, she said. I think it's unfair that the hate on one side and the extremism on the other side is now ripping apart the whole group celebration, which is really unfair.
Yes. That is a true statement.
Yeah. Rabbit said she believes last year's interruption of the parade and the ongoing dispute over whether to let police march in uniform may have played a role in the decision to call off the event. I think I agree with that. I advocate that the police should be in our parade, she said. I don't think we should be exclusive. I've really had a good relationship with the Edmonton police and with the army. I think we've... Ooh, that's a bad word. She used the A word. I think we found our next target, people. I think we've built so many bridges and so many advocates have fostered healthy relationships with these stakeholders and organizations. And I think for us to exclude parts of our society that actually serve and protect us is actually going backwards. I think it's wrong.
Holy shit!
Guys, I think we found one.
I think we found another one.
We found a sane leftist.
They do exist.
Mm-hmm.
Now we just need a meme.
See, this is when I read shit like this and I'm like, this is the left that I remember being part of. Is people like this, which is we're all together in this world and it all fucking sucks, right? But we're just trying to all shuffle through it and go about our daily lives and make connections with people. It wasn't about, oh my god, I'm oppressed.
Yeah. But somebody found out that saying, oh my god, I'm oppressed, gets you brownie points.
Yep.
And it all went downhill from there. Now, she sounds like the kind of person that didn't leave the left, but the left left her.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. Because I don't believe that all these freaking radical extremist identitarians are the mainstream left.
They're not.
I just think they're the loudest.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
There's probably like a huge swath of smart, like principled left-leaning people who just aren't active online or politically.
Right.
And the extreme left not realizing that, or realizing that and just trying to see how far they go, it's gonna bite them one day. Like eventually, like the extremism is gonna split them apart, and the day can't come soon enough. I feel. Okay, back to Rabbit. I'm only speculating here. I think that's where the tension's coming from, but I don't think canceling the Pride Parade will be effective, and I think it's really short-sighted.
Perfect.
Fair.
Rabbit, you gotta fight the fucking communists, man. You can't let them win.
Yeah. Exactly. Rabbit also suggested the cancellation came at a time when many in the LGBTQ community may need it most. Hey, where's the rest of the letters? We're missing some. But, wow, I didn't think about it before, but like you might actually be able to spot a sane, well, not straight person just by how many letters they add to the LGBT.
Yep.
With the amount of hate and homophobia going on, I think we can't go run and hide right now. We need to be upfront. We need to have a bigger pride. We need to have a bigger parade. We need to come together during times of social unrest within the community and also just outside of the community. We have to come together as a group and stand united, and I don't think this is sending that message. I think it's showing a divided community and in-house fighting, and it's weak.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Like, we found a sane, intelligent, probably lesbian or trans. I don't care. Like,
Maybe two-spirit,
sure.
who knows?
Yeah, well, but she didn't use the 2S, so probably not.
Well, who knows? Her name is her last name is Rabbit.
Yeah, might be First Nation.
Don't want to make any assumptions, but possible.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay, as a group and united. It's weak. Earlier this year, the Pride Festival's organizers said the 2019 event would be themed building bridges from stone walls. Oh man, that
Perfect.
why it's so good.
Yeah.
Like it's freaking perfect. And then they get freaking
Okay, so
exactly the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots.
So one of the things that didn't get carried over into our archived version of the page was a scribed script that had the list of demands. I'd like to take the time now to read some of these demands.
Okay. Do you have a link for this?
Go for it.
Yeah, I'll pop it in the Discord.
Okay.
Bottom there. So, Pride Demands 2019, as presented by Shades of Color and Rarica Now. ESPF has started to meet our initial demands that we presented at Pride 2018. We are happy that police and military have been removed from Pride. Today, we are meeting to discuss the well-funded QTIB POC space at Pride, which was also a demand mentioned at Pride 2018, as well as other demands. For those unaware, QTIB POC is queer, trans, and indigenous, or I think indigenous or it's queer, trans, intersex, and binary people of color. It's also sometimes QTIBI POC, where the other I is indigenous. So demand number 1, reorganize the structure of Pride. Open Pride with a protest led by QTIB POC, trans folks, folks spelled with an X, and their allies. Allocate funding for QTIB POC and trans folks to host community building and creative workshops and make this the main feature of Pride in the Park. Okay, so they just want to steal the show, I guess. Included in this would be musical performances by QTIB POC artists. Finally, end Pride in the Park with a vigil to honor the lives of LGBT IQ2S plus activists and community members that were lost due to systemic oppression, including transphobia, racism, classism, capitalism, etc.
Oh boy.
Yup.
I guess some people are just more equal than others, I guess.
Okay, so applicant criteria. Applicants will recognize the ongoing, lasting effects of colonization and the ways in which systemic oppression continues to impact the indigenous peoples of this land, as well as displaced and migrant people. Applicants will honor the ways in which colonization has further marginalized queer and trans individuals who are part of these racialized groups. Applicants will acknowledge that whiteness is pervasive in mainstream LGBTQ+ communities.
Jesus.
Applicants will honor this land as indigenous land. We are situated on Treaty 6 territory. This land is home to Cree, Nakota Sioux, Dene, Saulteaux, Ojibwe, Blackfoot, and Métis people. Indigenous folks have relationships with this land, and this land is intrinsically connected to the relationships that we build with one another and with ourselves. The work that we do at Shades of Color and Rarica Now honors and recognizes the community-based practices of many Indigenous folks of this nation, and we are blessed to have access to teachings and knowledge that can support QTIBPOC on Treaty 6 land. We need to fight to defend this land at all costs against all threats, including government-sanctioned invading pipelines. Applicants will recognize that people who live with intersecting identities face multiple layers of marginalization. Disability justice, the fight against trans misogyny, the fight against capitalism, the fight against classism, as well as prison abolitionist movements intersect with fighting the ongoing effects of racism and queerphobia.
Wait, prison abolitionist?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Like,
I did not
like
know
they,
that
Prism is racist, you guys.
they can't be talking about what I think they're talking about, right?
Yeah, they're thinking about 30% honks, 50% honks, 30% 13% honklers.
like they're not talking about getting rid of prisons, right? Like,
Yeah, they literally are.
They literally are.
It's not even new. Like, this is like a few years old now. The abolitionists.
Just
Because-
get rid of prison, guys. There's no such thing as prisoners.
wait, like
There's
my
no
brain's
such thing as
malfunctioning
law.
right now. Like,
Law is racist.
wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Like no, my brain's. Give me a minute. I gotta reboot it. So the first question I have is, where are we going to put criminals?
Well,
nowhere.
which criminals?
Any
Crime
criminal.
is, yeah, crime
What's
is
a
like
criminal?
just yeah,
Crime is racist, Matt. Don't you know?
yeah.
We can't have law.
But
That's just
but they
internalized
but they
misogyny.
broke the law.
Yeah, but laws are inherently racist, Matt. Don't you know?
Like, I hear the words that you're saying. I hear them. There's just like a
Welcome to the-
filter in my brain that says no.
Yeah. That's called logic.
It just says no.
Welcome to the abyss. Gaze into it, and it also gazes into you.
Okay. Demand number 2. Rework the budget and provide Shades of Color and Rarica Now with $20,000 each. The Edmonton Pride Festival receives well over $200,000 a year from sponsorships, grants, and donations in kind. Out of this $200,000, 2% goes towards community investment. Yeah, how much of it goes towards paying volunteers to host the fucking festival? And let's remind folks, you wanted to cut the corporate sponsorship.
Yeah.
So where
Yeah,
are they
but,
supposed
well-
to get this money?
Out of their own pockets, I guess.
Not everything can be grassroots funded, man.
Oh. While we feel that $20,000 is necessary, we are open to negotiation.
Oh, of course you are.
Weren't these demands non-negotiable? Like, which is it? Are they non-negotiable, or are they open to negotiations?
Look, I'm completely open to the idea of you people, you folks having like issues that you feel need brought up, and like seeking out funding or sponsorship to help deal with some of these issues. But making all or nothing demands, not the way to go about it.
Give reparations, racist.
Also, can we bring up, like, is it racist to bring up the paradox of this is indigenous land, but indigenous people didn't believe in land ownership?
They'd probably go for that for a good defense.
I'm sorry, my brain's still broken over the prison abolitionists. This is the first time I've ever heard of that.
Isn't land ownership a white concept, like a white imperialist concept?
Yeah.
Wouldn't the designation of like Territory 6 not exist if treaties hadn't been signed with white imperialists designating that land as indigenous land?
Yeah.
But think about the Trail of Tears, racist.
It's like these people don't think at all.
No, they do. It's just like everything that doesn't agree with them is automatically racist and shouldn't be a concern.
Demand number 5. Write a public accountability statement outlining the harm the EPFS has caused the QTI-BPOC community and a public commitment to rectifying this harm.
What is there, like 2 of them? Of the QTI-BPOC community? Like, it's gotta be a small number, right?
This statement will be publicly released with this document by the EPFS. So we appreciate that you've agreed to meet with us and like concede to our demands, but also apologize and tell everyone you're sorry.
Mm-hmm.
My immediate response would have been for what?
Yeah, like this starts to sound like jizya to me. Like, we want money, and you're gonna debase yourself while you're giving it to us.
You're gonna bend the knee.
Yeah, that's it. This is just showing who's the dog and who's the master. It's literally just calling heel.
So demand 6, feature shades of color in rare canal on the front 4 pages of the Pride Guide. Holy fuck, 4 pages. You need 4. And demand 7, work with Rare Canal to support QTI-BPOC refugees and newcomers. Provide resources and writing support letters when necessary, and make a public commitment to center these communities. Wait, center as in put them in the middle of things, or center as in provide a center for them to happen? These communities often experience further layers of marginalization, lack of access to healthcare, income, housing, language, employment. Oftentimes, queer and trans refugees are not able to access the support of their families or home communities and seek communities resources here. America now provides these individuals access to ongoing support, oftentimes less necessary to keep community members in the country. And our demand is that the EPFS leverages their power and engages with us in this advocacy work, as this can literally mean the difference between life and death for some community members.
It is absolutely crucial that the stance of EPFS on this issue is public for transparency so people can learn about the advocacy work going on in the city and mobilize.
I love the juxtaposition of this final statement right here. Thank you for reading through our demands and taking the time to meet with us. We look forward to working together with EPFS and supporting QTIB POC specific spaces in our community. As if this entire document's rational at all.
Thanks for reading our demands. By the way, if you don't agree to them,
we're gonna put a fucking gun to your head and pull the trigger.
well, let's not say that. They haven't expressly threatened violence anywhere. Let's not misrepresent them. But still, they did essentially hold the Pride Festival hostage.
Yeah. For $40,000 fucking dollars. And they want to create prison. They want to forward the cause of prison I can't even say it. Like
prison abolition. Yeah.
I think we broke Matt.
No, dude. Like, oh my god. Like, I don't even know what to say to something like that. Like, if someone came up to me and said, "We want to abolish prisons," I'd be like,
yeah, well, all I want to say is, welcome to Clown World.
We want to abolish prisons. Okay, so you're keeping all the prisoners.
You put them in your house, right?
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. Okay. I know it's not on the planning for today, but like you remind me of the one that in Scandinavia, like a newspaper went out to talk to people and talk about if they would have places for immigrants, and then the moment they said yes, that they offered that there was an immigrant that was looking for help, and then suddenly everybody was like, yeah, but well, in general we agree, but in this specific case we don't really have the space for it.
Oh, so not in my backyard.
Pretty much.
Jesus Christ. You learn something new every fucking day.
We agree with the idea, but we're not actually able to do the thing we're demanding everybody else do, because...
Yeah, because you're chicken shit.
No, it's because they just don't wanna. Like the only thing I can react with that is like a very good clip from Yes Minister on equality.